this one too. All right. So the first thing you will see is right now I'm just on the command home screen. And so anybody who's real new to command, one tip I always give out is just click the red KW and it'll give you all the actual titles for each of the different applets inside of command. And so here today we're going to be working in designs, which designs, it's not just your marketing material. It's not just print and social media stuff. There's actually a few different levels to designs, but today we are going to be focused specifically in the designer where you can actually go in and design some media. But before we get into that, we're just going to go over a quick overview of the designs homepage. So you can see up here across the top, we have a few ways that we can filter out our design. So if your page is empty here, you don't have these tiles sitting there, that's okay. That just means you don't have any designs in your command yet, that's fine. But you can see down at the very bottom of my page, you can see a total of what I'm looking at. So if I don't want to, go 9 pages or 9 pieces at a time, I can come in here and I can filter out. Maybe I just want to look for my email templates or landing pages, social media templates, print templates, agent sites, or videos. And so all of these things you can make inside of command and in here. But again, what we're going to focus on today is social media and print templates, because that's where you can actually go in and design some stuff. There is an email editor that is coming out soon for this, for some templates for that. That's going to be after Mega Camp. So look forward to that. That's going to be exciting. And then landing pages, you actually create inside the consumer part, but they do live in here as kind of your archive of all your old landing pages once they've gotten a little bit older and out of use, or if you've turned them off. And the same with agent sites. Your agent sites that you've made in the past that aren't active are going to live back in here. You can see if I click on them, they do go back quite a bit. And so it's kind of like an archive for older agent sites that maybe you took off because you updated it, or a blog post was updated, something like that. All right. You can always search for your templates as well. You don't have to filter them. You can just search for their names in here. That's one of the things that I always stress to everybody who's new as well. Make sure that you're naming your templates. You can see some of these older ones, not that old. Some of them have bad habits. You don't want to just get stuck with new agent site KKA2P. It's not helpful. You want to really name those. And a lot of these back in here for me are ones that I've created and deleted out of making web pages, but it's a lot more helpful when you make sure to just title your designs. That's the first thing that we're going to do when we get into these designs. All right, but first, I want to take a look at the really powerful part of this that Keller Williams has given us, which are the templates inside of the social and print design studios. So first, let's look in here, and this is the print design. I'm going to show you guys how to get here in just a second. But let's just take a look at all the different things that are in here. So down the left side, we have all of these folders that are filled with different categories for templates for you to use. So listings, you see we have listing presentation. This is the print section, so you're going to see it in the listing, or the listing presentations in the print section. For sale, just listed, and the list goes all the way down. I definitely say the first thing you should do after this class or during the class right now is spend a little time exploring some of these. And then now you need to look across the top to see the different sizes. So you have the actual template to the left, but then there's different sizes for these templates as well. So you can see door hangers, or maybe we want to do flyers, and the designs change as the dimensions change. You have standard postcards, that's your 6x4, bifolds, trifolds, and these will change depending on what's available. So sometimes you won't have door hangers available in some of the sections, or you might not have as many available in another section. So like I said, explore it. There's a ton of really great content in here. It's updated every single week. If you want to see the newest stuff, on your home page back in Command, there's a little tile in there that'll show you any new updates. But you can also come into the very last folder in here in templates and click new designs, and that'll show you the newest stuff that came out in the print section. So you can see we have a few new bifolds in here. And then if you haven't seen this in your Command, does have a little coloring book that you can go in there and brand yourself with your logos. Oh, you guys still with me? Had a little screen flash there. All right, thanks, Don. All right. But this is a little coloring book that you can send to your friends, brand yourself, you know, and kids can color in it. I would suggest taking a look. It's very cute. Let's see. So outside of print templates, of course, we have social templates. So these do live in two different places inside Command. And I'm going to show you guys exactly where that, you know, diversion happens and which one you end up in. But in here, you're going to see the same lists of different templates, very familiar to the last page. But now your difference is, instead of having sizes that are meant for printing, actually sending to the print shop, now we have sizes built for social media platforms. Facebook size. Instagram is going to give you that nice 1-to-1 ratio square. And you can see all the designs are then redone so that you can use them on any of these platforms. Instagram stories, this would also do well for Facebook stories. Same ratio, where we're just looking at this taller portrait view. LinkedIn is really similar to Facebook. You can see this one's 1200 by 630 and LinkedIn's 1104 by 736. So slightly taller of a rectangle you're looking at there. And then Twitter is very similar as well, but this one's a little bit more of an exact 1-to-2 ratio for Twitter. These work really well. The Twitter ones in here, I usually will use these on my like Facebook, what is it called? The cover page, the cover photo at the very top of your page. This size works great for that. And there's also some really cool stuff in here. Let's see, you can find that in like business basics, social branding, and then here's some even more. So these are specifically focused right for those covers, right? This is Twitter, LinkedIn, and they're sized exactly to what those should be. And there's some cool ones in here that you can go in and edit some pieces of, add your own branding if you want to switch that up on that business page. All right, so kind of covers all the social media pieces. I'm just gonna pause right there. That's just a quick introduction into designs. Does anybody have any questions up front while I take a drink of water? All right. So let's actually jump in and let's make a design. So when you want to make a design, the first thing you're going to do, of course, is go to the designs page, just like we are here. And then in the bottom right corner, you're going to see this big circle that's light green with a plus sign in it. And we're going to click on that. And you see up pops the Create Design window. And we can choose what we want to do here. Email template, social, print. We can make a video from here in Command, a neighborhood video if you've seen those. We can also import PDFs. Today, again, we're just going to stick to these. Importing a PDF is the same thing. It imports it into the designer. So say you might have a piece of media that maybe you used in the past that you have electronically, or maybe something that somebody sent you that you have as an actual PDF document. What this will actually do is break it down, look up all the fonts, pull the pictures apart from it, all the different design elements, so that you can go in there and edit that PDF that you might have had from the past. And so it's a great tool. If you want, that's the import PDF. I am happy to sit down with you during a private class to do that with you. If that sounds intimidating right now, we can definitely sit down and do that. It's very simple, but there are some hiccups with fonts and stuff that aren't hard to get through, but definitely some people might get a little uncomfortable with having to go through 6 or 7 different fonts and knowing what's going on and what's happening. So schedule that time with me if you need it. But let's jump in, and we're actually going to look at the social print. Now, choosing between social and print right here is what gets you in between those two different template sets. Social and print is what we'll get you. If we choose print, we get all the ones that have those print sizes, social, all of the social medias. And I'm hoping at some point we'll be able to get to between them a little smoother. You can see sometimes I open multiple tabs, which be careful with opening too many when you're using the designer. If you've ever gotten the overload in there where it just breaks down and says, "I'll snap on you," and it doesn't work. Could be because you're running too many designer pages and Command doesn't like that many cookies running, or excuse me, Chrome doesn't like that many cookies running, so it sometimes will kick it out. So be careful. But I do this a lot, so I can quickly look through the templates that I want and get exactly what I want. Because there's no reason that you can't use a print design for social media. And I'm going to show you guys also today how to download this in any way that you want. If you want to download it, share it, and whatever you need to do, whether it's social or print, it all works the same. So everything that I do in print today, once we get past those template pages, everything's the same inside of social as well. So once you start just getting into and learning part of it, all of it works the same once you're inside there, and it's really simple to use with some of the tricks that are kind of built into the designer. Because again, this is not meant for people who are graphic designers. It's meant for just an average person to come in here and use this. And so I'm going to show you guys some of the little simple tools to work with that'll help make that a little easier. All right. Well, so now we have 7 people on here. I'm crossing my fingers. Who's got an active listing right now? If anybody does, put the address in the chat for me. All right, and what we're gonna do, well, hopefully somebody tosses something in there. We're gonna make a quick listing flyer. A listing flyer is a nice example. It's not too detailed, it's not too small, but let's do a for sale maybe. And I'm thinking a full letter flyer, maybe something that would sit at the home. All right, so those are okay. Ooh, I like this template a lot. So you can see there's a nice mixture of kind of modern, traditional kind of marketing. You have some fancier stuff where consistency is really key here. So when you're choosing templates, it looks a lot better online, and when you're presenting other things in media, to always be consistent. And so I would definitely suggest that if you start using one that you like, continue to use it. Don't switch between all these different templates and different spaces. Try and be consistent. That helps build your brand. And so again, that doesn't mean that you have to use the same one every time, but you can see some of the motifs of each of these are similar to each other, where I could use this one or maybe this for sale one over here, and they're very similar in the style of branding with the angles, the colors. And again, colors are only set to the Keller Williams colors now. It's pretty simple to go in there and start changing some colors up. All right. Now there's one more thing I want to show you guys before we actually jump into the designs. And this is your own personal brand kit. So if you haven't noticed it, at the top corner of any time I'm in this template view, this top corner has this plus library button. And so the first thing before you do any designing, go in here, get into a template. So to do that, we hit the plus sign. We chose either social or print, and that's what gets us onto this page. And then you're going to click library, and a window is going to pop up. So on this window, we have 5 tabs to go through. You can see if you fill out all this information in here, some of it might be even filled out for you already, but then it just defaults into command as quick text that I can just drop in or replace other text with of whatever information I put in here. I have additional text that if you have slogans, you have your bio that you can drop in here. All this stuff that if you ever need it, or any kind of chunk of text that you might have, your value proposition might be something that you throw in there that it might go on, taglines or somewhere on print media a lot, especially if you're doing mailers or something. You don't have to use what I think one of them is called slogan, but it's just a block of text that you're able to use. Now here's where it gets useful, is images. When you click into images, these are going to be, you want to load in your headshots right here. You want to load in, the photos, not your logos. We have a different spot for logos, but in here is where we can put in images, headshots, different backgrounds that you might use, especially if you have, like I've seen some teams that have their name over some really cool Denver pictures, stuff like that. You might put that in here. That's not so much a logo. You would use that as a background possibly. And so you have all this, and this will always come up in every template that you load up. There's a little spot in there that'll have all your personal stuff so that you can always just load in, and your logo will always be there once you put it into your brand kit in here. Same thing with your logos. So you can see we have logos and elements. The logos, the only difference that I can see between them is that the logos have to be in JPEG or PNG format, and the elements can be in a simpler format that I don't even know what they are. They're like a special icon format for clip art and stuff. So they can just be simpler images, but really I just use it to save a bunch of different logos for myself. Team logos, you definitely want your team or your individual logos. And then of course, I definitely recommend everybody having a couple different of the DBA logos in there available, because if you're making marketing media, it needs to have these on here. I know it's not the prettiest, but we've gotten in trouble before as a market center, and we need to make sure that we use this logo to stay compliant with all of the real estate commission's rules around advertising and advertising us as Keller Williams versus your own brokerage. It has to have this. Your own stuff is up to you to put it on there. But if you put your own emblems and not this emblem, not this DBA logo, you're going to get in trouble. And there's people out there that, are going to pull up and blow the whistle on you because of it. And so just be careful. That's what this is here for, is so that you can easily just tap a button and it goes onto it. You drag it to the corner, you size it right, and you're done. It doesn't even have to be big. It just has to be on there. And then the last part of this is the brand kit. The brand kit, you can set these colors too. So if you have a set of colors that you always use, you can come in here and choose this. You can use the color code. So maybe you've worked with the designer in the past, a graphic designer, and they've given you the color codes for maybe a cool teal color that you've always loved. Something, let's lighten it up a little bit. And let's do that. And so you can type the number right in there and get the exact coloring that you want. Or you can just come in here like I did and choose a few that maybe are just the ones that you're like, you know what? These are my colors now. I'm going to try and use these. Just be careful. Not all colors look good together. And
Stephen, how did you get there again? I'm trying to find it on my command.
Sure. Let me jump into where it's easiest to get to. So if you are on command, go to designs. And then you're going to go to the big plus sign. And then you can choose either one of these. We'll choose social this time and hit next. And then once you're on this page that fills up with templates, just a few more seconds, I click this button right here in the top right corner that says plus library.
Okay.
Get right in there.
Thank you.
Yes, no problem. Thank you for asking a question. If anybody has any, I do not mind being interrupted. Please ask questions. All right. And then the last step is fonts. If you have a custom font, or if you have a font that's been given to you or that you know that you want to use from your logo that matches your logo or matches part of it, or if you just want to use the Keller Williams font, a lot of that, those simple fonts are in there. There is a font package with probably over 100 fonts inside of there already if you just want to explore and use the ones. But again, consistency is so important when it comes to something as simple as fonts. Pick one and use it. Pick one and use it all the time. And, you'll see Keller Williams uses the same font just in different sizes and widths, which is a great way to, change up your branding, but keep that consistency. It just makes their eyes look a little bit easier at these. And I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to, change the sizing in other ways too, because again, this is a really simple program to use, but it's pretty powerful. All right. So now let's actually jump into a template. So we're going to go into a listing template. Ooh, we got a chat. Right on. Thank you, Adriana, for sending over that listing. I'm going to cross my fingers that it is active inside of command. All right, so now let's go to flyers. Oops, we're in social. I want to be in print. Let's go in social. All right. Well, let's just start over, jump into print. All right. Okay, so let's go with, here we go. Let's choose something. Flyers. There we go. This is the one that I want. All right. So now we're going to pull up this template, and there's going to be different pieces that we're going to probably want to change right away. And those are going to be things that are about you. One thing that I would suggest doing, especially if you do a lot of listings, or if you do a lot of the same things, under contract posts would be great for buyers, where you want to make that template look the same, or maybe you just have to go in and change a few pictures, but you make it a template for yourself. Because the ones from Keller Williams are not loaded up with your information. You can see this woman's down here, just says agent name. But what you can do is you can just save a basic template that we're gonna just kind of quickly do a quick version of a basic template that I would use for myself that I could go back to and just drop pictures into this for the next listing. Drop the pictures, drop the info, and then I don't have to do anything else. So let's do that first. And so you might have caught this, but a quick tip, use the zoom in and out here. It makes it so much easier to get work done and see what's going on in here. So now I can come in, and here's where it makes it pretty handy that I went in and filled out my branding kit beforehand, because now I can come into my library, into text, and my library, and you can see I have all of that information down here, including my name. And whenever you see this little two arrows going in a circle, that's the replace button. And so as long as I'm clicked on text, I can replace that text with whatever one of these I want. So here, first, I'm just going to replace my name, and then it drops right in there. Now this one is a block of text. And when you want to edit a block of text, the best way to do that is click on that block of text and then come up to the top of the screen where there's this little rectangle with a line going down the middle of it. It's called the typewriter tool. When I click on that, it just allows me to open up a text box that I can just go in here and edit this information exactly what I need. So contact details, you put your phone number in there, 530-6818. Your website, social media info, maybe you drop in your Facebook. And then you also can put in your app link if you want, but also you don't have to. You can take that right out. This is 100% up to you. Just because it's in the template does not mean that you have to use any of this. The only thing that's in the template that you need to use is the logo, the DBA logo that you see right here. And so when I click on this logo, I gotta be really exact, click on it, it's gonna jump right over to my logos page like you just saw it do, so that I can replace it. So I'm gonna come in here. Let's see, come on. Oh, there we go. Now I'm on the logo. And then I'm just gonna hit the replace logo button and it's gonna drop it in there. Now, another trick in here, you can see it's not really the right size, so we're gonna have to resize it. But one of the other tricks is to keep the spacing in the same spot. Instead of using your mouse to drag things, you can see it's highlighted on my screen, but I can use my up and down arrows and my right and left arrows to reposition this. And so I really want to keep the up and down position the same, or excuse me, the right and left position the same, because it's in the corner where it specifically needs to go for the design. So I'm just going to hold my up key until the image gets to about where I want to go. And you can see we have some extra text down there, but our KW's cut off. So all we need to do is just resize that box behind it. So what we're going to just then do is click off of this off to the side so I can unselect my logo. And then I'm going to click on the box behind it. You can see when I hover over, it shows me in a very light dotted line what I'm selecting. So if I'm over the white box, you see the selection around the white box, but if I slide over to the logo, you see it might not be visible through the zoom, but it will slightly highlight what you're selecting over to help you know which one is where. So I'm going to click on this one. It might be even helpful to zoom in a little bit more here. All right, so now I just want to make this box larger. Again, I don't want to resize it at all. If you grab a corner, it's going to let you go up or down, right or left, up or down with that size. But if I grab one of these long ovals on the side, it will only let me go that one direction, up or down. And because I want to just make this a little larger, just drag it right above the KW to bring it back into that frame that nicely puts the emblem down there. Now you can resize this, maybe you want to center it. And so one thing that's nice about this is if I do use my mouse, you can see that if I slowly drag across, a little blue line shows up. And that blue line is telling me it's centered with something above. But I want to try and center it with the box that I just enlarged. And so I might move over until I get the blue line again. Let's see. Oh, there's my up-down centering line. It can get a little bit picky sometimes. Oh, no, that was the center line I wanted right there. So I can line up and down and right to left. There we go. And then we have our logo placed. Now, very tiny in our DBA, you can read down there that it says each independent brokerage is independently owned and operated, something like that. It's that little line of text down at the bottom. Down at the bottom of almost every template, you're gonna find something similar at the Keller Williams level. Each office is independently owned and operated, or each market center is independently owned and operated. You might see either of those in places. If you have your DBA in there, you're covered. It covers this other sentence down here. You can keep it if it makes you more comfortable, but if you want to delete this little bit of text out here at the bottom, it's very simple to delete any of these things. You can just hit your delete key, or you can come up to the top, scroll over when you're selecting an item, and you'll get a little trash can right there to just say remove, and then it goes away. Of course, this is always a good time when you remove something to mention that there is an undo button. In case you mess something up, you can click undo and bring it back. You can also redo and go back in time. So previous versions, if you had saved something and you've been working on it and working on it and working on it, and then you did something wrong, you're gonna see all these previously saved versions inside of here. Now the file menu, you can save on your own and tell it to save. You can also, it's already set to auto save, so it's gonna continually just save. But one of the things that we should do is rename it. And we're gonna rename it up in this top bar as well. We're gonna call this listing flyer template, because this is what I'm always gonna go back to. This doesn't get sent to a client until I know what house it's going to. So this one's just the one I always go back to, right? That's what we're building. And so now, I'm not gonna change any of the price information. I just wanna change my own. So now let's work on a picture. Same thing as we did with text, we're gonna do with the picture. When I click on it, you can see it jumps into my images, and I just need to select the image that I want by pressing the replace image button. Now, it's important to use replace image because if I just hit the plus sign, it's just gonna throw the picture onto the template, and I need to place it where it goes. And I need to size it to the correct size. When I put it in, when I click on the photo and replace it, it goes into that frame in that perfect size. So let me show you what I'm talking about. There, and it goes right in there, opposed to if I just click the plus sign, the photo just gets dropped in there. You can see the photo is actually a rectangle, but because I used the frame, it went down to be that square. And they have a really nice part in here too that, now maybe this isn't the exact part of that picture I wanted inside the square. Let me delete this out. So what I can do is I can click on the image, and then when I look at the very top bar, I see reposition. And when I click on that, you can see the full size of the photo now. And then maybe I wanted more of my head or less of my head in there, whatever it needs to be. Or you can also make it a little larger. Maybe you wanted maybe I just want my headshot in there a little tighter, just like that. And I click done. And then it stays in that frame perfectly set into the template. That's why you use a template. You don't want to play too much with them until you get a little bit more comfortable. So in here, this other stuff, this is going to change when I put in the listing information. And so I'll change that later. This is just our template. Same thing with this. Exceptional and unexpected. I'm fine with that for now. So my template is done. So if I want, this is something you can all do now without a listing. You can do this because you don't need a listing to do this. I would hit save from here, file, save, and I wouldn't download this because this is meant to just be a starting point because it already has all my info in it now. Just like we started with KW's template, replace their info with our own. Now this is the one I'm going to go back to every time because it already has more work done. And this is how you should work with any template, including your listing presentation and buyer presentation. So now, if I wanted to, I could be done with this, and then when I get a listing, then I can put this listing in. So now we just got a listing. We open this template back up. Here, let's just go through that real quick. So let's click done. Okay, now we're back at the designs page. We just got a listing. We got an open house going on, or maybe not an open house. We have showings scheduled back to back this weekend. So we want to put some flyers in there. So we come in, and now, instead of going to the plus sign, you can see we have our listing flyer template show up right here first. It was the last thing we edited, so that's why it shows up first. We could also come in and look for our print templates, search it, or look for listing flyer template. Because at some point, if you do it a lot, it's going to get pushed down to the bottom more, so that search will be helpful. But now all I need to do is click on this button here and make a copy. Because I don't want to edit the one I just did. I want to make a copy of this new one so I can always go back to the original. And now we're going to come in and we're going to edit this copy right here. And all we have to do is just double click it. And then now we can get back into the editor to make this one for our 1081 Yuba Street listing. So you can see down at the bottom, there's my little picture, my info's down there, my Keller Williams logo's already done. So now all I got to do is drop in the listing information. So where we start here is in the KWLS, because all of this is connected into KW, into the KW listing system. And so we're going to look for 1081 Yuba Street. Is that Denver? And we're going to hit search. All right. We're cross my fingers it comes up. Sometimes it is hard to get listings in here. Aurora.
Yeah, my bad. It was Aurora. I'm sorry.
No problem. Does that look right, that first one?
Yes, that's the
All
one.
right. And so if you're not sure, when you hit select, it's going to give you a bunch of information about the listing. We have all the photos now, and then we can look at listing detail. So if you need to check to make sure it's your listing or the one that you're supposed to be using, just look down in here, and you should be able to see Elementary Bond, Keller Williams Realty Downtown, Carlos Benuelos. It'll tell you who the listing agent is down at the bottom. And so this is just helpful when I'm filling this out. I have all of the listing information: 4-bed, 2-bath, 1/2, forced air, square footage. I have price in here if you want to include that, the address, all of this. And the nice thing is all of this stuff can also just be dropped in like we did before. So there's the address. I can put it in just like that. Looks like, I need to make it a little larger for my eyes. So in here, I know it is a, let's see, it's a 4.2. So since this is a little bit fancier and designed out, I'm going to go into the text editor and just edit this out to be correct. It's a 4.2. And you can see I can't replace text in the typewriter, but I can at least look at this. So then I can edit all of the different little pieces. All right, let's see. We have living area, square footage. Let's do 1098. Yay. And built in. I'm not sure if we have built in on this list. Nope. So let's write in something else. Instead of built in, maybe we'll put, well, so since this is going to the house, what I would actually put in here is the price. They're already there on a showing, and so we can just toss that in there. We'll have it a little bit bigger down here. Do the same thing, edit the typewriter. Hit save changes, and then I'm just gonna go through and make some of these changes. One thing you'll notice too, all the way at the bottom, the description, that whatever the remarks are down here as well. And so you can come in and maybe we just want to take these out. We're in a hurry, so we're just going to take these out and replace them with this remarks. Now there's a lot of remarks there. So let's talk about resizing text right now, because this is an important part of editing these templates. I know you guys are going to use more or less text sometimes than they have in there. So it's important to know the difference between pulling on the side where the oval is and pulling on the corner where the circle is. Now, when I pull on the circle, it's going to resize the text, but keep the spacing on the lines the same. So you'll see that the last word with and at the top line will stay there, but everything will get bigger, just like this. And so I'm resizing the font here, but keeping, again, the line spacing the same, opposed to grabbing the side where now the font's gonna stay the same, but the spacing will change. And so you can see that's how I can add more text in the same space. You can see my little guideline show up to help me center it around the text below, so I can use that full description. And there we go. I have now I'm almost done with my template now. Now all I gotta do is just switch in some pictures. So we come in, we go back to the top, and we're gonna switch back to the Photos tab. And now I'm just gonna choose a few photos. I'm gonna click on the one I wanna replace. Ooh, this one's gonna look good there. Bingo. All right, now we gotta reposition it because it's not exactly where I want it in that frame. So let's see, I want it, let's zoom out a little bit. I can't see what I'm working with. Let's see here. All right, still can't see what I'm working with. Okay, now I can. There we go. So I'm just gonna, I wanna pull this over a little bit because I kind of like that, that little part of the picture a little bit better. It's about the right size, so I'll click done. So there's the first one. I'm gonna do the same to a few more. I love some nice lines, especially in this kind of template. So I'm gonna click on the right picture. I like these lines in here. All right, maybe not a basement picture. People love kitchens. Let's go here with the kitchen. Beautiful. I always like to zoom out a little bit when I'm working on a design. The color looks a little out of balance here. I got a lot of nice blues and greens on the left and a lot of like grays and yellows and browns on the right. And so I kind of want to change that. I have some other color to choose from in here with some more colorful pictures. Remember, this is just sitting on the table at the listing. These two pictures that I first put in, I probably wouldn't pick up that flyer. But if I had some more brightness in there, maybe I would. And so I'm going to just come back. I'm not happy with the pictures, so let me just try a couple different ones. Okay, that's making me feel a little better. Reposition this one. Let's get the whole bed in there almost. There we go. Now, ooh, and some sky and backyard. Here we go. Whoops. Didn't want that one to be there. Clicked on the wrong picture. So now I'm just going to hit the undo button. And now, because I accidentally clicked on this, where the white lines are is the picture that I replaced. Because I want to replace this one. This one's still thinking about it. Sometimes it will do this and think about the pictures that you dropped in. It just generally just be patient and it will come through. Don't try and refresh the page or anything like that. That'll erase most of the work that you've done. The only thing I would do is come in and save. Just make sure that you hit save if you haven't already. And this is a perfect time to rename this because now it's not a template. Now this is what I actually want to send to the printer. So now we're going to rename this 1081 Yuba listing flyer, because that's what I want to have it saved as if I'm ever going to pull it up, if I need to search it, something like that. Think about what you would search, and that's what you want to name it. All right, this photo is still giving us trouble, and I like that one. There we go. Now I'm happy with this flyer. I like the way it looks, spacing looks right, and colors look pretty good. Now, we talked about switching out our colors. Maybe we don't want black as this background color. Well, they make it pretty simple to do, but we do have to select this piece, this black piece here, which sometimes can be hard because there's a bunch of stuff in front of it. Give me a second. Do you need something? Sorry about that. Little homeschool login issue. All right, so sometimes it's hard to get to a piece in the template. And so we have to look up to one of these tools here at the top. That's the Arrange tool. And inside of this, all of these different pieces have their own layer where they're laying on top of each other. And so you can't click on something if it's below multiple layers. So sometimes we have to bring some layers down so that we can click on the one we want, change the color, and then drop it back down to where it goes. All right, so I'm gonna go through that process kind of slowly because this is where it gets a little bit more advanced outside of this class. We'll get more into this more advanced stuff on Thursday, doing stuff like this. But the arrange tool is very important because it will save you loads of frustration if you just learn to use it. So the way that you get to it again is by clicking on any image. And it's right here at the top that says arrange. Now, when you click on that, you're gonna get a couple of options. Send layer forward, to be up, send layer back or down, to the top or to the bottom. And then we have some alignment options as well for the layer. So that can be helpful to use as well if you want to align to the center of a template. You can drop it and put it right in there if you don't want to use the blue lines. All right, so what we're gonna do with this one is we're just gonna drop it back a few layers. So I'm just gonna click on it 1, 2 times, and you can see that second time, I'll bring it back. You can see that second time is when it drops it out of the picture. And because now that layer is sitting behind the photo of the front of the house when I drop it behind. That's what this tool is doing. So just showing that again, that little piece right there, I'm hiding behind the photo instead of letting it be in front. So that's what the arrange tool does. And so let's get in here. Let's see if we can select this one. All right. All right, so this one, here's the other thing. If I'm too frustrated, I can't get it to work, I will take that template piece and just drag it over to the empty space. You'll still see the outline of it out here, so you won't lose it. Even if you pull it all the way outside of your template, but keep it inside of your workspace, you'll still be able to see it out over here. So sometimes you do need to just get it out of the way. Oh, there's our color right there. That's why it wasn't working. So this template is not meant to have its color changed. And unfortunately, Keller Williams doesn't think that we should get the decision on what templates can and can't have that done. And so you'll see that if you go into some of the designs, especially anything that has a Gary Keller quote on it, it's locked down. You can put your logo on it and that's it. And then some of the other designs do have those restrictions. They're more on those social media side of things. There's not many restrictions over here, but some of the templates we can't change the color on. Bummer. Let me see if we can change this color. Here we go. At least I can show you how. So this one is a fancier image. Because it has the 2 different colors, it's not being able to be broken down so that I can change the color. But if it's a simple shape like we see down in here, like this black pentagon is, down at the bottom. This black pentagon has a couple of options that we can change the color for. So you just come in here. Now, if you want to get to your colors, you have to select library colors. Those are the ones, or excuse me, library colors are the ones that come from Keller Williams. You have your default palette, which you can see those are the Keller Williams colors, the grays, the green ones got in there on my own accord, but the gray through, or the black through the red are all Keller Williams colors. So if you just want to default to some of theirs, you got them in your default library. Then we have my colors, which they're the ones that we saw earlier. So let's change it to this teal color. And you can see right there, it drops it in and changes the color in there. One thing to be aware of is you also need to possibly change the stroke color. The stroke color is what is going on the outside of the shape. And so if you don't want to mess with the stroke color and make sure it doesn't change the design, one of the easiest ways to avoid a color you don't want somewhere is to come down here where you see this little small square box that has a couple of lines through it next to the word apply. That's your transparent button. So if you just want to put no color, you press the transparent button. You can see that it gives you that checkered board, and then you hit apply. And then that just makes, basically it makes my border around that shape invisible. And you can, that's how it should be in this template. It has the white lines already put into it. I do kind of like it a little bit more with that extra little pop of color. You can see when we pull it out, nice little template that you can send to the printer. Now, sending something to the printer is the next thing we're going to talk about. Downloading and actually sharing these things out, because there's a couple of steps that are different, whether you're going to print this or if you are going to just put it on social media. So we'll take care of the simple one first, which is social media. All you got to do is just click the download buttons. So when I say just click the download button, that's right up here. There's the arrow with the line below it. That's black. When you hover over it, it extends and says download. And we click on that and we're given 3 tabs. Get PNG, get JPEG, and get PDF. Now, if you're downloading or if you're only going to use this on social media, you're fine with either PNG or JPEG. Either one will be fine. JPEG is probably more commonly uploaded, but almost every single thing that can take a JPEG will take PNG as well. It's probably just a little smaller. You can compact it a little bit more. And sometimes size can be an issue. So you can get your size estimate down here. You can also include smaller versions. So same exact thing. Maybe you want to just have a web version of this picture. It's just going to save like a JPEG image that's at a smaller pixel same ratio, just smaller size. So I don't use these too often because I generally do most of my templates in either the Facebook or the Instagram one for social media, and then I use a varying ones for the print designs, just depending on what I want to print. And so we don't have to worry about any of these include alsos. The publish settings you do not need to mess with for social media. You do not. You can just come through and hit start download. Now be patient with this process. You're going to see preparing right up here in the corner, or excuse me, at the top of the screen. If you exit out of here before you get the download ready, it won't download. So you can see it hits download ready, comes in, and we get this nice JPEG. Let's see, give it a second. I'll pull it into your view. And we get this nice JPEG right here that we can use, and we can upload that to just about anywhere on the internet. Now, let's say we don't want to print it. Or excuse me, we don't want to just put it on social media. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to say about PNGs. PNGs do handle transparent backgrounds, which JPEGs can't do. JPEGs will default to something white behind it or black behind it if there is no background. So if you have a transparent background that maybe you want to overlay somewhere else, might not be what you guys need this early, but if it ever comes up and you need a transparent background, you do need to use a PNG for that. All right. And then of course, when you want to print, you need to save it as a PDF. And so in here, when I come in and print it, we have a couple of options. Now this one only has 1 page, but if you had a front and a back, we would have 2 design pages here. And you can either print all designs or the current design, whatever page you're working on. I always choose high resolution print quality every time. Now here's the big difference of what you need to do when you print these out, or if you are printing this file. You need to come in and select use manual bleed. What that does is it adjusts the picture so that it cuts it off at the right place for the printer. Because otherwise you're gonna have a 1 or a 1/4 inch margin all the way around or cut off of the photo that you wanted. So be careful. That's also be smart when you're designing. You do not want text that goes up to the edge of the photo. Give yourself a 1/4 inch at least, because then that'll keep you out of the manual bleed territory anyway, if you forget it. But as long as you do this, your designer or whoever you're getting this to print will make sure and they'll know the exact design that you intend to print and what they need to do with it. And so use that manual bleed. If they have some kind of weird setting, you can set the manual bleed manually. But it defaults to what almost everyone uses, which is like 12.5 pixels or a 1/4 inch. All right, now from there, all you need to do is just hit start download, and it's gonna download a PDF version of this file. Again, we have to wait for it to prepare. All right, there it goes. And let's open that one up. So you can see it doesn't look too different, just as we expected. All right. Let me check my notes real quick, make sure I talked about everything. Okay, that's it. So we have about 9 minutes left. I'm gonna stop the share for now and just open it up. Any thoughts, questions, ideas, possibilities you guys are thinking about?
Hey, Steven.
Hey, Mario.
By any chance, do you have this recorded? That way I can post it on the YouTube channel on the Keller Williams page. I mean, it's great information. I just feel like I'm going to forget some things.
Yes, sir. This is being recorded. It should be up by next week.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem at all. Thank you for reminding me to let everybody know it's been recorded. Well, in that case, if we don't have any other questions, guys, then that's all I have for you. If you do have any more questions and want to just schedule some time with me, please do. And of course, yeah, I'm always here. I love to walk people through here. I'll tell you, I've sat down and just coach people through designs while they do it on their computer, and then I just watch their screen and say, click here, do this, do that. So if that's something that you feel like you need in this situation, I'm happy to help you through your first through 3 or 4 designs. Yeah, again, happy to do it. Schedule some time with me. Thank you guys all for being here today. I appreciate you showing up. Hope to see you on Thursday.
Thank you, Stephen.
Bye, Deanne.